I woke up with my boots still on. Except I didn't remember falling asleep. My body ached like I'd been running all night, but the duct tape was still on my mouth and my cabin door was locked from the inside. The boot prints outside the door were still there, dried in the dirt like a path I didn't take. I stared at them through the window for a long time, afraid to breathe too loud. When the sun rose higher, I forced myself to move. I tore the tape off my lips and tasted blood. My hands were shaking. My heart still thumped like I'd run a marathon. The journal sat on the table where I'd left it, but now there were 2 new lines in it, written in my own handwriting. Let me in. Why are you hiding? I didn't write them. I know my own scrawl, but my pen was capped, sitting in the drawer. I slammed the journal shut and shoved it into my backpack. My first thought was to call HQ, but the radio was still in the shed, unplugged. Even if I tried, who would believe me? Something in the woods is writing in my notebook. Yeah, sure. So I tried to go about my day, patrolled the smaller trails, checked a few signs, kept my eyes on the ground. But the forest felt wrong again. More wrong than usual. No animals, no birds, not even the smell of earth. Just this faint, sweet rot, like wood left too long underwater. I turned my radio on for a second, just to test. It hissed, then went quiet, then hissed again. And then I heard it. Come outside. It's safe now. It was my voice, clear, calm, like a recording, only it wasn't one. I shut the radio off and threw it back into my pack. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. That night, I decided to test something. I set up my old voice recorder on the windowsill before midnight, pressed record, left it there, sat on my bed with the duct tape over my mouth, and waited. When the whispers started, I didn't listen. I stuffed earplugs in and stared at the ceiling until my eyes watered. I felt the walls vibrate with the sound of my own voice calling my name from outside. When it stopped, I checked the recorder. The file was 43 minutes long. I hit play. It started with silence, then faint rustling, then my voice. Hey, it's okay. You can come out now. Come on, it's just me. Don't hide. I'm cold out here. Then another voice joined, low, whispering, unclear words, and then something I will never forget. A copy of my voice again, but twisted, like it was smiling when it shouldn't. Open the door, we're hungry. I slammed the recorder off and threw it into the stove, watched the plastic melt until it smelled like chemicals. That was the moment I realized the trees weren't just whispering, they were listening. The next morning, I went outside. My traps, simple tripwires and cans strung between trees, were all down, triggered. No footprints, no claw marks, just empty, like something had walked through without touching the ground. I circled the cabin and stopped dead. The trees near the clearing were closer than yesterday. I don't mean it metaphorically, I mean the trunks were a foot closer to the cabin, roots pressed up through the soil where there hadn't been any before. I backed away. My skin crawled. I spent the rest of the day inside, staring out the window. At 11:50 p.m., the cabin door creaked open on its own. Just a little. A cold draft swept through the room. I lunged for it, slammed it shut, and threw the mattress against it. I sat with my back to the door, duct tape over my mouth, shaking so hard my teeth clicked. At 12:01 a.m., something knocked softly on the window. Then again. Then a whisper, low and wet. Let me in. The knocks moved from window to window, slow, testing. Then the voice changed, became lighter. My mother's again. Sweetheart, you're scaring me. Open the door. I squeezed my eyes shut and prayed. After an hour, the sound stopped. When I woke at dawn, the cabin smelled like sap and wet bark. I looked at the door. 3 long scratches had appeared overnight, deep grooves in the wood, like claws or fingers. I pulled the journal from my bag, flipped to a random page. A message I hadn't seen before stared back at me. Don't trust the trees. It wasn't written in my hand or the old ranger's. It was written in something thin and spidery, like twigs dragged across paper. I put the journal down, backed away, and realized something else. The whispering wasn't coming from the trees. It was coming through them. They were doors, and I had already cracked mine open by speaking.
The storm rolled in fast. By late afternoon, the sky turned the color of old bruises. The wind picked up, and thunder rumbled low in the distance. The trees swayed like they were nervous, like they knew what was coming. I tried to stay calm. I told myself rain would help, that maybe whatever was whispering out there didn't like getting wet. I was wrong. Around 7 p.m., the power went out. I lit a candle and grabbed my flashlight. The radio crackled once, then died. I didn't bother trying the backup generator. I knew in my gut it wouldn't work. They didn't want it to work. The rain hit hard. Sheets of it poured down. The cabin roof rattled. Water slid across the windows in heavy lines, making it hard to see outside. I stared out anyway. The trees looked like shadows dancing in the storm, but some weren't moving with the wind. Some stood still, too still, like they were watching. Like always, I decided I had to do something. Sitting inside was driving me crazy. I needed to check the supply shed, see if I could find extra batteries, another flare, anything useful. I grabbed my flashlight, my raincoat, and stepped out. The rain slapped me in the face, cold, sharp, blinding. The walk to the shed was short, maybe 30 yards, but that night it felt like miles. Every step I took was loud. Every tree I passed seemed to lean a little too far. I opened the shed door, stepped inside, and closed it behind me. Dark, damp, smelt like mildew and rust. I found a box of road flares and a few old maps. I stuffed them in my bag. Then I heard it. Whispers. Not outside, inside the shed. I turned around fast, flashlight shaking in my hand. The beam landed on a shelf filled with tools, and then something moved behind them. A shape, small, twitchy. Then I heard it again, right by my ear. We were rangers too. I spun around and saw nothing, just shadows, cobwebs, empty space. I backed toward the door, heart pounding. Then another whisper, lower this time. Let us wear your skin. I bolted. I slipped in the mud but didn't stop running. Made it back to the cabin, slammed the door, locked it tight, shoved the mattress against it, and sat down shaking. My clothes were soaked. My flashlight was flickering. And then I heard something new. Not whispers. Laughter. Soft. Wrong. From the trees outside, like a group of children giggling behind a curtain. The storm roared louder, wind howling like a beast, but under it I could still hear the laughter. It echoed around the cabin like it had nowhere else to go. I needed air, just one breath. So I opened the back window just an inch. The wind blasted in, and with it, screaming. Not from the storm, from the trees. A high-pitched, howling wail like 1,000 voices crying out in pain. It only lasted a second. I slammed the window shut. Then silence. Dead silence. Until something whispered directly behind me. Don't look in the pit. I turned. No one was there. But I knew where it meant. There's a spot deep in the woods, just past marker 9. We call it Deadfall Pit. A collapsed part of the old hiking trail, now fenced off. Everyone avoids it. I didn't want to go, but I had to. I had to see. The rain slowed down around 3 a.m. I grabbed a fresh flare, my map, and a flashlight with barely any battery left. The trail was soaked. Mud sucked at my boots. Every step felt like it dragged me deeper. The trees whispered all around me. Familiar voices. Harris. Tom. My mom. We warned you. Too late now. Should have stayed quiet. I reached the pit. It was deeper than I remembered. The fence was bent open, like something had crawled through. I pointed my flashlight down and saw bones. Dozens of them. Not animal. Human. Old ranger boots, broken radios, pieces of torn uniforms. And in the dirt wall of the pit, carved deep with shaking hands, were words. Voices aren't dead. They wait for mouths. Don't answer. Suddenly, lightning flashed. And in that white burst of light, I saw faces pressed into the pit wall. Not bones. Faces. Eyes open. Mouths frozen mid-scream. Skin pulled tight like tree bark. Like they were stuck in the dirt. Buried but not gone. And for a second, they all looked at me. I stumbled back and slipped, landed hard in the mud. My flare dropped and rolled toward the edge of the pit. I reached for it, and the ground beneath me gave out. I fell. Only a few feet, but it was enough. I hit something solid. Wood. Roots. No. Something moved beneath me, like the ground breathed. I shoved the flare into the dirt wall to light it up. All around me, tiny shapes gleamed in the light. Ranger badges, dozens of them. Some old, rusted, others new, polished, all pinned into the wood like trophies. I crawled backward. My hand landed on something hard. A boot. Still on a foot. Still attached to a leg buried deep in the soil. The name tag was too worn to read, but I knew what it meant. They were real. The others. The ones who spoke. I scrambled up and out, using roots like a ladder, and ran. Didn't stop until I reached my cabin. That night, I didn't sleep, just stared at the window, waiting for the trees to knock. And when they did, I didn't answer, but I swear I heard them whisper, "You saw the pit. Now you're part of it."